Now, just before we get started into Module 1, it's helpful for you to understand that right now, at the moment of recording, there's an issue with downloading the training manual, the PDF, if you're watching or listening to this on a tablet or phone. It's not a problem. You can either download it via a desktop computer, so you'll have access to it that way, or you can simply drop us an email and we'll email over the PDFs for you. There's also, you need to be aware that you could be asked very early on for a review within the system. You have the option of pressing the Ask Me Later button. So don't feel that you have to give a review very early on in the course. It's just the way that the system works. Obviously, we love positive reviews. If there's anything that you feel that we need feedback on, you can always send me a message. But anything else, we do appreciate a very good review from you. But really, the main asset here is the training manual. So make sure that you are able to download that, because the video modules are really highlights, and all of the main information, the in-depth information, is within your training manual. Okay, so Module 1 is all about what is PTSD. So most people have heard of PTSD, and maybe some people have encountered somebody who's been diagnosed with it, so been close to them. It could be that that person's changed in their persona, they're acting out of character, or maybe even strangely, and this is only the tip of the iceberg in PTSD terms. So post-traumatic stress disorder is a very real and damaging condition. It has a far-reaching impact on those who experience it, and although many people associate it with military personnel and the horrors of war, it can be experienced by people from all walks of life. Often there's individuals who feel terribly isolated, and they're reliving this scenario of their personal traumas over and over, as if it's almost a waking nightmare. So it's clear to see that PTSD is a very serious condition. It can create feelings of isolation, and the individual may feel as if they're the only one suffering from those symptoms. So if you have it, or you know somebody who appears to have any of the various symptoms, that person needs treatment. PTSD causes the individual's nervous system to be constantly on alert, and so by contrast they may feel totally detached from real life. They might suffer from depression and maybe even developing substance or alcohol abuse as a coping mechanism. Those that develop complex PTSD might have multiple traumas to face, so recovery could be harder for them. So treatment's absolutely vital, because it's not going to alleviate until they do get the treatment that they need for that. It's treatable, and as a counsellor, it can be very rewarding to help those who have become confined within this disabling disorder. So, the client must have been diagnosed with PTSD. That's an important issue here. The client that comes to you must have had a medical diagnosis that they are suffering from PTSD. If they're not, then you can help them with your standard counselling. So why PTSD normally and understandably affects soldiers, it's clear that anybody can experience it. It could be your colleagues, your doctor, your librarian, anybody really. Even children can and do develop PTSD. Every parent, of course, wants to protect their child from traumatic incidents, but it's impossible to do so. There's things that are happening in the world that could impact a child and get them to develop PTSD. So it occurs as a result of an experience that's horrifying or terrifying to the person, and that can be absolutely anything. It affects people on an individual level. One person may become a broken individual, while another who experiences similar is able to make a full recovery. It really is how the person is reacting to it. So when you consider the number of people who could have been affected, having experienced fires, earthquakes, hurricanes, tornadoes, tsunamis, PTSD can and will affect them. The highest risk for trauma will often include the following: rape or sexual abuse in adulthood, sexual or physical abuse in childhood, domestic violence, armed robbery, and violent acts that are leading to death. So violent acts play a huge part in the vast numbers of soldiers who have developed PTSD, but we have to include those who are in the police or other service who are often in the direct line of fire. Of course, we're going into this more in-depthly within your training manual, so make sure that you do have that to hand. We've got 3 self-assessment tasks at the end of this module. Take your time over those, and when you've done them, we'll see you on Module 2. Have a great day.